What is your compass reading, Powers? I don't know where we are. Must have got...
A patch of ocean where legends feast? Are the disappearances real mysteries or stories dressed as facts? From Flight 19 to MH370, myths and data collide. This video untangles the Bermuda Triangle's legends and the MH370 connection.
This is actually the lead ship of Flight 19.
Wow, the exact same plane as this is Flight 19.
Flight 19 and the Lost Mariner Rescue, the origin of modern mystery. And here's where it gets even stranger. It's December 5th, 1945. 10 minutes past 2. 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers lift off from Florida like it's just another training day. No drama, no menace in the sky, nothing that hints at the story they're about to become. They call it Flight 19. 14 men, led by a seasoned pilot, Charles Taylor, a guy who had survived the war and trusted the air like it was home. For the first 2 hours, everything behaves. Clear skies, calm radio chatter. Then suddenly, the tone changes. Taylor's voice crackles through the radio, confused, unsettled, his compass, dead. Backup compass, dead too. And it's not just him. One by one, the other pilots start reporting the same nightmare. Imagine that moment. You're thousands of feet above the water, and every tool meant to keep you alive stops telling the truth. "We don't know which way is west," one of them says. That line still hits like a gut punch. The weather rolls in, heavy and unforgiving. Sun drops, darkness swallows everything. Taylor thinks they're over the Gulf of Mexico and orders them east. Some men insist they're already east of Florida. Disagreement becomes desperation. But in the storm and confusion, nobody really knows where home is anymore. 7:04 p.m., the final transmission. Then silence. 5 planes vanish. And as if that wasn't cruel enough, a massive Mariner rescue aircraft with 13 men aboard goes searching, and it disappears too. No debris, no bodies, nothing but questions crashing into a nation already stunned. What would you have done if every instrument betrayed you at once? USS Cyclops, the vanished carrier of men and manganese.
The Navy ship that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle nearly 100 years ago is now the focus of a new book. Marvin Barash, a Baltimore County resident, is a relative of one of the men on board the ship.
But wait, this part blew my mind. Before Flight 19 ever haunted the headlines, another disappearance had already carved its shadow into the Atlantic. The year was 1918, World War I still raging, when the USS Cyclops, one of the biggest ships in the US Navy, set out carrying 306 people and a mountain of manganese ore. 11,000 tons of it, a floating giant, heavy with wartime purpose. It sailed from Brazil toward Baltimore, a route ships had taken countless times. The weather? Clear. Radio? Normal. Everything seemed routine, until the routine simply stopped. No SOS call, no distress cry, not even a fragment of wood drifting onto a shore. Just silence. Pure, unsettling silence. A ship that massive, capable of shaking the ground when it docked, disappeared as if the ocean opened its jaws and swallowed it whole. Wartime chaos made it even easier for speculation to grow. Was it sabotage, a structural failure, or something darker in those waters? Newspapers wrote about monsters, sailors whispered about curses. For many people, the Cyclops wasn't just a lost ship. It was the beginning of a legend forming right beneath their feet. Ellen Austen and Maritime Legends. How stories become lore. And here's where the ocean turns downright eerie. The Ellen Austen story feels like something ripped straight from an old sea novel, except sailors swore it happened. In 1881, this 210-foot ship was sailing from London to New York, a routine route, until the crew spotted another vessel drifting silently on the horizon. A full ship, but no people, no captain, no crew, just a ghost riding the waves. For 2 days, Ellen Austen waited, watching for any sign of life. Nothing. So the captain did what any curious or brave each sailor might do. He boarded it. The ship looked untouched, cargo intact, no struggle, no sign of panic, just absence. He placed some of his own crew on the deserted ship and planned to escort it. 2 days pass. Then a storm tears through and separates them. When Ellen Austin finally catches up again, the emptiness has returned. His men are gone. Some versions say he tried a second time. Another crew was placed aboard. Another storm. Another disappearance. But here's the twist. Historians can't verify it. No solid logs, no concrete evidence. Just a story retold so many times, it became part of the Triangle's mythology, alongside countless ghost ship tales that thrive because the ocean doesn't always give back its answers. Columbus' 1492 account, compass quirks and a fireball, and this is the earliest seed of the myth. Back in 1492, long before anyone named the Bermuda Triangle, Christopher Columbus sailed through the region and wrote something strange in his journal. One night, he noticed his compass shifting off its usual alignment, the needle drifting northwest. For a sailor depending on that tiny arrow, that's the kind of detail that makes your stomach drop. Then he saw a light, a flickering glow moving like a wax candle bobbing in the dark. Later, a bright fireball streaked from the sky and fell toward the ocean. Centuries later, storytellers would cling to these entries like prophetic warnings. But scientists now say the explanations are simple: magnetic variation and probably a meteor. Still, it's wild how one journal entry became the spark for centuries of speculation. 1964, Vincent H. Gaddis and the popularization of the Bermuda Triangle. And here's the moment the legend really got a name. In 1964, writer Vincent H. Gaddis dropped a bombshell in Argosy magazine with an article titled "The Deadly Bermuda Triangle." He didn't discover new evidence. He stitched together disappearances from different decades and presented them as one connected mystery. No confirmed causes, no verified links. Just a dramatic pattern drawn from scattered events. But that article hit like wildfire. The name stuck instantly. And once the label Bermuda Triangle entered pop culture, everything snowballed. Books poured out. Radio shows dramatized vanishings. Movies leaned into the fear. Even songs and video games used the triangle as shorthand for the supernatural. A handful of tragedies suddenly felt like a grand narrative, and mass-market storytelling did the rest, amplifying the strange cases and ignoring the boring explanations. That's how a region of ordinary ocean became one of the world's most famous myths. Weather, currents, and shoals, natural hazards behind many losses. And this is where the real danger usually hides. The Bermuda Triangle sits in one of the most volatile weather zones on the planet. Hurricanes tear through the Caribbean like freight trains, and violent tropical storms can appear almost without warning. For a pilot or captain relying on older instruments, one wrong reading in that chaos can be fatal. Then there's the Gulf Stream, a massive, fast-moving ocean river that can drag debris hundreds of miles in hours. If a ship sinks or an aircraft goes down, the remains don't stay put. Currents scatter everything, making wreckage nearly impossible to track. That alone creates the illusion of vanishing into thin air. Now add the geography. Those gorgeous turquoise waters around the Bahamas? They're shallow because the seafloor rises sharply. Hidden shoals lurk just beneath the surface. Older ships regularly ran aground there, sometimes fatally. And we can't ignore rogue waves, giant, unexpected walls of water that reach 80 to 100 feet. Modern science confirms they happen more often in storm-heavy regions like the Triangle. A ship caught sideways wouldn't stand a chance. Combine hurricanes, rogue waves, fast currents, and enormous traffic. Thousands of boats and planes passing every year. And of course, accidents happen. Not because the Triangle is cursed, but because it's busy, dangerous water.
Scientists have been testing the hypothesis that perhaps gas in the ocean could contribute to some of the mysterious things that we find happening.
Methane hydrate blowout theory. Plausible, but unproven. And here's one theory that sounds dramatic but has limits. Beneath parts of the ocean floor lie massive deposits of methane hydrates, frozen gas trapped in sediment. In lab experiments, scientists have shown that if methane suddenly erupts into the water, It can lower water density so drastically that a ship loses buoyancy and sinks almost instantly. It's like the ocean forgets how to hold weight. Some call these eruptions mud volcanoes. In theory, if a vessel happened to be right above one during a blowout, it could disappear without leaving much trace. That's the spine of the methane hydrate explanation for the triangle disappearances. But here's the sticking point. No confirmed shipwreck in the Bermuda Triangle has been linked to methane eruptions. The science is real, the mechanism is plausible, but there's zero direct evidence tying it to any actual disappearance. It's a neat idea, just not a proven one. Psychology of myth-making. Baader-Meinhof, frequency illusion and storytelling bias. And this is where our brains quietly trick us. Once you hear about the Bermuda Triangle, you start noticing every story connected to it. That's the Baader-Meinhof effect, also called the frequency illusion. A few disappearances suddenly feel like dozens because your brain is tuned to look for the pattern. Then add confirmation bias. If you already believe the triangle is dangerous, you notice the strange accidents and ignore the routine ones. And storytellers, books, TV shows, documentaries, lean hard into the mysterious details while skipping the boring context. Researcher Larry Cucci dug into the original reports and discovered that many famous triangle stories were exaggerated or partly fabricated. Some ships weren't even inside the triangle when they vanished. Others had clear explanations that got edited out in retellings, and official agencies have said the same. The NOAA and U.S. Coast Guard both state there's nothing uniquely hazardous about the triangle. Once you factor in heavy traffic, storms, and currents, incident rates are completely normal. But myths survive because they're fun, dramatic, and shareable. And once a story gets a little momentum, it grows. Data-driven debunking, Johnny Harris, Lloyd's List and Casualty Statistics. And this is where the whole narrative gets flipped on its head. When journalist Johnny Harris dug into the Bermuda Triangle, he didn't chase legends, he chased data. Instead of stacking dramatic stories together, he looked at patterns across thousands of maritime incidents worldwide. And the numbers? They told a completely different story from the myths. He worked with Lloyd's List, one of the most respected maritime data sources on the planet. Their team gathered years of casualty reports, everything from minor mechanical issues to complete disappearances. Out of tens of thousands of global cases, the Bermuda Triangle barely registered as unusual. Take 2021 as a snapshot. Of 8,634 vessels that passed through the triangle, only 2 experienced reportable casualties. That's about 0.02%, which is 90 times lower than the global average. If this area were truly swallowing ships and planes, those numbers would explode. Instead, they shrink. Sure, data sets have limitations. Different countries report incidents differently, and some older accidents never made it into official logs. But aggregated, transparent, cross-checked data paints a far clearer picture than anecdotes ever could. And the picture is simple. The Bermuda Triangle isn't an outlier. It's just a busy piece of ocean that became a cultural phenomenon because stories travel farther than spreadsheets. How the myth got tied to modern tragedies. Why MH370 appears in the conversation, but here's the twist.
Later this month, an American company is again going to search for the wreckage of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. And you'll surely remember the Boeing 777 bound from Malaysia to...
The myth didn't stay in the past. Whenever a plane disappears today, the internet instinctively drags the Bermuda Triangle into the conversation. And nowhere is that more obvious than with Malaysia Airlines MH370. On paper, the two events have nothing in common. Different oceans, different causes, different eras. MH370 vanished over the Indian Ocean, thousands of miles from the triangle. But the human brain isn't wired for calm analysis. It's wired for patterns. Both stories involve a modern aircraft vanishing with almost no trace. Both ignite fear, grief, and an aching desire for answers. And when answers don't come fast enough, people fill the silence with the nearest myth they recognize. The Bermuda Triangle becomes a shortcut, a narrative box people can drop MH370 into because uncertainty feels unbearable. Media headlines don't help. The moment a disappearance feels mysterious, they lean into comparisons. And suddenly, MH370, a tragedy rooted in complex aviation data, gets loosely tied to a century-old folklore hotspot. This is exactly where the Vincent Line Broken Ridge theory steps in, offering a scientific-sounding alternative that scratches that same itch for closure. MH370. Vincent Line's Broken Ridge claim, official findings and theory comparison. And here's where the story shifts from folklore to one of the most studied aviation mysteries in history. Researcher Vincent Line argues that MH370 didn't crash randomly. He believes it was deliberately taken to a deep trench near Broken Ridge in the southeastern Indian Ocean, a 6,000-meter abyss, steep-sided, sediment-filled, almost tailor-made to hide a Boeing 777. According to Line, the aircraft's final location aligns with a track found on the pilot's home flight simulator, a detail investigators once dismissed, but he considers crucial. In his view, the ditching was controlled, precise, and intentional. But to understand MH370, you have to balance Line's claim with the massive official investigation behind it. The ATSB used Inmarsat satellite handshake data to determine that MH370 followed a southern arc before running out of fuel. That analysis, combined with debris recovered from Reunion Island and other African coasts, strongly supports an Indian Ocean crash. The simulator data, deleted but reconstructed, did show a route similar to the presumed crash path, which raised eyebrows. But it doesn't prove intent. Other theories range widely: pilot suicide, hijacking, structural failure, a fire, even a shoot-down or cyber attack. Many have emotional force, but little physical evidence. MH370 is nothing like the Bermuda Triangle tales. It's a data-heavy, highly technical investigation. To validate Line's claim, investigators would need sonar scans of the trench, EROV confirmation of wreckage, identifiable serial numbers, and matching debris fields. Until then, Broken Ridge remains a possibility, but not a proven resting place. Legends survive because they feed our instinct to fear the unknown. But real answers come from data, patience, and evidence, not myths. Whether it's Flight 19 or MH370, the truth hides in the details, not the drama. So what's your take? Drop it below and hit like and subscribe for more.